This is Skolola. At only 12 years old, she had endured more hardship than many face in an entire lifetime. Born and raised on the streets by a mentally ill mother, she had no father, no home, and no one to secure her future. She attended school for only 2 years before leaving when the woman who paid her fees suddenly disappeared. She was hopeless and forgotten, yet remarkably intelligent. But one day, her life took an unexpected turn. She met Jessica, the daughter of a wealthy businessman studying in one of the finest schools money could buy, yet struggling to learn. It was Shalola, the barefoot child from the streets, who became her secret tutor. But when Jessica's powerful father discovered a homeless girl teaching his daughter under a mango tree, his reaction changed everything. This is one of the most powerful stories you will hear. And if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe and like this video to support more inspiring stories like this one. Leave this place immediately. The sharp words were followed by spit landing just inches from Shalola's bare feet. She didn't move. Years of insults had made her numb. The market woman shouted again, "Is this a dumping ground? You and that mad woman better go before I pour water on you." Shalola held tightly to her mother, Abini, who sat barefoot by the gutter, mumbling to herself while drawing shapes in the dust with a trembling finger. Her wrapper had slipped, revealing scars and dirt, but Abini did not notice. She was lost in her own world, one only she could see. People passed by, some slowed, some stared. One woman paused briefly, shook her head, and walked away. No one helped. No one ever did. Skolola was only 12, but life on the streets had aged her soul. Insults no longer brought her to tears. Daughter of a madwoman. Gutter girl. Cursed child, she had heard them all. What stung more was the pity. Empty looks and head shakes with no real help. Her mother, Shalola imagined, must once have been beautiful. On rare clear days, Abini would sing old Yoruba lullabies and call her daughter princess. But those moments were brief, gone as quickly as they came. Most days, Abini couldn't even remember where she was. She screamed at reflections in puddles, threw stones at shadows, and ran from things only she could see. Shalola had no father, not even a name or picture. "Who is my father?" she had once asked. Abini looked at her with hollow eyes and said, "I don't know, maybe the rain." That was the end of it. They slept under a broken kiosk near mile 12. If it rained, they were soaked. If the sun burned, they endured. Their mattress was a flattened carton. Their blanket was silence. Skolola no longer knew what it meant to dream. Survival was all she understood. Each day began the same way, her mother waking with screams clawing at the air. Skolola would hold her close, whispering, "It's me, Mommy. It's me," before cleaning her with a rag and water from a pipe and leading her back to their begging spot. Her mother begged. Skolola watched. That was their life. Sometimes people dropped coins. More often they dropped insults. "Mommy, please don't talk today. Just sit quietly," Shalola whispered one morning as she adjusted her mother's wrapper. But Abini suddenly stood, shouting at a passing car, "Give me my wings. I left them in your trunk." The driver honked and swerved. Shalola's cheeks burned. She turned and caught the gaze of a neatly dressed schoolgirl across the street, holding a lunchbox. The girl stared, then quickly whispered to her friend and laughed. Shalola looked down at her dusty legs, chipped toenails, and dry hands. Her stomach growled, but she ignored it. Hunger was a constant companion. Still, deep inside, she dreamed. She dreamed of sitting in a classroom, raising her hand to answer questions. She dreamed of wearing a school uniform, writing in notebooks and reading books that weren't torn or soaked in rain. She dreamed of hearing her name spoken without mockery. But who would send the daughter of a madwoman to school? Who would care for a girl whose mother chased birds, convinced they were demons? No one, and yet Shola kept hoping. She watched children walk past with their backpacks and neat braids, whispering to herself, one day I'll sit in a real classroom. One day I'll leave this cursed corner of Lagos. One day my mother will smile again and call me by name." But as she reached into her bag to count the N10 note and 3 coins they had managed to collect, a hawker shouted behind her, "Thunderfire poverty." Shola didn't look back. She just held her mother closer and whispered, "Amen." It began with a plate of jollof rice. That afternoon, Shola crouched beside her mother near a shoddy, her stomach twisting with hunger. Her mother was in one of her silent moods, rocking back and forth, lips twitching, eyes vacant. That's when Shola noticed a woman across the road watching her. The woman stood behind a steaming food stall with plastic chairs, a wooden table, and 2 coolers. The air was filled with the scent of rice and pepper soup. She was fair-skinned, full-bodied, wearing a simple Ankara gown. There was something in her eyes, not pity but concern. Shola looked away, embarrassed. She hated being watched like an animal on display. Minutes later, the woman crossed the road and stood before her. "What's your name?" she asked gently. Shola stared at her bare feet before whispering, "Shola, and your mother?" Shola pointed at the woman beside her, now singing to an empty bottle. The stranger's eyes softened. "She's unwell, isn't she?" Shola nodded. "What have you eaten today?" Shola stayed silent. Instead of pressing, the woman handed her a covered takeaway plate. "Here, eat." Shola hesitated. Strangers never gave food for free. They always wanted something in return, something she wouldn't give. But the woman smiled. "Don't worry, I'm not like the others." That was the day Shola met Auntie Linda. The food was hot, the rice rich, the meat tender. Shola hadn't tasted meat in months. That same evening, Auntie Linda returned with bottled water and soap. "What's your story, child?" she asked, helping Shola wash her hands, and Shola told her everything. The madness, the hunger, the markets, the school she once peeped into, the dreams she still held. Her voice cracked, but she didn't cry. Auntie Linda wiped her hands with a handkerchief. "Tomorrow, come to my shop. Help me clean and I'll feed you. Deal?" Shola nodded so hard her head almost fell off. The next day, Shola came. She swept, washed plates, served customers, and quietly studied Auntie Linda, how she smiled at people, how she ran her small stall with calm authority. One afternoon, Shola sat under the counter drawing numbers in the sand with a stick. Auntie Linda leaned down. "Where did you learn that?" "From listening to the school near the express road. I memorized what the teacher said." "You mean, you never actually went to school?" "I did once for 3 weeks. Auntie Bessie paid, but then she moved away." Auntie Linda stayed quiet for a long time. The next week, she returned with a brand new exercise book and a pack of pencils. The week after, she went further. 3 weeks later, Shola stood inside a dusty public school classroom. Her hands trembled, her heart raced. She wore a second-hand uniform Auntie Linda had bought from a thrift market. It was too big, but it felt like a crown. "Behave yourself," Auntie Linda warned that morning. "Make me proud. I don't have money to waste." Shola nodded quickly, clutching the nylon bag with her new book as if it were treasure. The first day was strange. Children stared. Some giggled. But when the teacher asked a question and Shola answered before anyone else, everything changed. She was brilliant. Too brilliant. She answered questions even older students missed. She memorized poems after hearing them once. She wrote fast and neatly. One day the headmistress even asked, "Who trained this child?" Shola always answered, "Auntie Linda." Every evening after class, she returned to the stall to work, cleaning, serving, sometimes tasting leftover soup or fruit. But her greatest reward was hearing Auntie Linda nod and say, "Good girl." For the first time in her life, Shola felt seen, felt loved. Then, just as life was beginning to shift, everything changed. One evening, Auntie Linda came home holding a white envelope. Tears filled her eyes. "My sister in the UK finally processed my papers. After 7 years of waiting." Shola smiled. "So we're traveling?" But Auntie Linda stopped smiling. "No, Sholola, just me." The room went quiet. Skolola blinked. "What about me?" Auntie Linda sighed deeply. "I paid for your school up to this term. Maybe God will send someone else to help you. I've done all I can." Skolola stared at her plate. She wanted to scream, "Take me with you, please." But she only nodded. 3 weeks later, Auntie Linda was gone. No one told her goodbye. No one came to pay the next term's fees. One day the headmistress called. "We're sorry, Sholola. Without fees you cannot remain." She stood outside the school gate for hours, clutching her bag, waiting for Auntie Linda to return. She never did. She stayed until the sun sank behind the buildings. Her uniform was dusty. Her book bag hugged her side. Flies buzzed near her ear, but she didn't move. Her eyes fixed on the bend of the street where Auntie Linda had promised to return. But the street remained empty. Sholola's stomach growled. Dust burned her throat. Children walked past in groups, laughing, chasing each other, greeted by parents with snacks and hugs. No one came for her. Eventually, the gateman approached. "Little girl, it's time to go." Sholola nodded slowly. She stood, dusted herself off, and walked away, but not home. Where was home anyway? The broken kiosk she'd once slept in with her mother now had a new tenant, a drunk who threatened her with a belt. The bakery corner where a beanie used to beg was now taken by two boys who sniffed glue and fought anyone who looked at them wrong. The streets had changed while she was gone. Her mother hadn't. Still angry, still barefoot, still talking to ghosts and demons in the air. That night, Shalola found her by the gutter, trying to feed a dead pigeon soaked in rainwater. "Mommy, it's me. Let's go somewhere safe," Shalola whispered. Her mother hissed and slapped her. Shalola wiped the blood from her lip with the back of her hand and sat beside her anyway. They curled up on the pavement for the night, surrounded by cigarette butts and mosquito bites. Her mother laughed in her sleep. Shalola didn't sleep at all. The next morning she wore her school uniform again. She tied her books in a black nylon bag and returned to the school gate, hoping someone would help her. But when the headmistress passed, she frowned. "Why are you here again? I told you no fees, no school. I'll pay." "I will," Shalola stammered. "How? You and that woman don't even eat well." The word struck her like a slap. Teachers passed. Parents stared. Skalola's cheeks burned. "Please, Ma, let me just sit at the back." "I won't make noise," the woman shook her head. "Don't disgrace yourself. This is not charity. Leave." And that was it. The gates closed. Skalola sat by the wall and cried into her book until the letters blurred. Days became weeks. She tried returning to the food stand, but a new owner had taken over. Auntie Linda was gone for good. Skalola sold her last decent sandals for N300, bought bread and Gary, and watched her uniform fade to gray. Her exercise book got wet one night. The ink ran, her notes became unreadable. People stopped seeing her as the smart girl. She was just another street girl, another shadow on the roadside. One evening, seeking somewhere dry to sleep, she saw a boy no older than 9 light a match and smoke something wrapped in paper. "Come join us. If it helps you forget, say you're hungry," he said. Skalola shook her head and walked away. Her hunger was loud, but her fear of becoming like them was louder. She still had one treasure left, her mind. Somehow she believed it could change everything one day. She kept returning to school despite being chased away, insulted, mocked. Every morning, while other children tied their shoelaces and tucked in crisp white shirts, Skalola found her way to the back fence of City Crest Academy, a private school that looked like a palace. The walls gleamed gold. Windows had polished glass. Students wore blazers, sparkling shoes, names stitched neatly on their uniforms. She didn't belong, but she persisted. A cracked window behind a classroom had a small ledge she could stand on, beside an old mango tree where no one looked. That was her secret place. From there she could see everything: the chalkboard, math problems, the teacher explaining vowels. She mouthed the answers quietly to herself, clutching a broken pencil stub like it was sacred. Her notebook had been destroyed by rain, so she wrote on scraps scavenged from garbage. Old flyers, tissue boxes, anything with a clean side. Each day, she stayed until the bell rang, then vanished before being noticed. But one Monday she wasn't fast enough. The teacher noticed her, ragged, bright-eyed, peeking from behind the window. "Hey, who's that?" The woman yelled. Shalola froze. A student turned, pointed, and sneered. "It's that crazy girl again, the one who follows us." The class erupted in laughter. The teacher stormed to the back and opened the door. "What do you want, Anne?" "Who sent you here?" Skalola stammered. I want to learn." "Please, can I just listen from outside? Are you mad?" "This isn't a public space." The teacher barked. "No, ma'am. I won't disturb anyone, I promise. Go tell your mother to pay the school fees first, if you even know who your mother is." Skalola parted her lips, but no words came. The teacher grabbed a stick from the table and raised it. Skalola turned and ran, so fast she didn't notice the tears stinging her cheeks until she reached the next street. She didn't give up. The next day she found another school, Bright Scholars Academy. Not fancy, but still guarded. This time she didn't try the window. She crouched outside a broken section of the fence and listened. When children recited times tables, she whispered along. When they chanted English words, she repeated them, sometimes correcting under her breath. One morning, a boy noticed her and threw a stone. "Witch, go away. You're distracting us." Skalola didn't flinch. The stone hit her shoulder, but she held back her tears. Another child laughed, shouting, "She's mad like her mummy. Go learn in a psychiatric hospital." Still, she returned the next day and the day after. but pain piled up. One afternoon, a security guard caught her and dragged her by the arm. "Who are you? Always sneaking like a thief?" "I'm not a thief, sir. I just want to learn." He didn't listen. He pushed her to the ground. "Next time I see you here, I'll beat you." As she limped away, Shalola looked at the building, the bright walls, desks, blackboards, all she longed for but couldn't touch. She sat under a tree and began writing multiplication tables in the dust with a stick. The wind erased them, but she rewrote them. That night, as her mother babbled beside her in sleep, Shalola stared at the stars. "God," she whispered, "why give me this mind if I can't go to school? Did you make me smart just to suffer?" There was no answer, only distant traffic and her quiet sobs. The first time Shalola carried a tray of water on her head, her neck nearly snapped. She was barefoot. The tray was rusted. The sachets of water were barely cold, all she could get on credit from Mama Doris's shop. "Don't break any. If one falls, you pay. If I see you rest, you pay," Madoris warned. Shalola nodded. She adjusted the tray and stepped into the sun. The Legos road didn't care she was 12. It didn't care about her blistered feet or trembling shoulders. All that mattered was hustle. The pure water business was brutal. Women shoved her aside. Boys twice her size called her small mad girl and stole her customers. Buses almost crushed her. Drivers yelled at her. But she kept moving. Every time she sold a sachet, she whispered, 5 naira closer to food. Her goal was simple: feed her mother. Nothing fancy, just bread, maybe a car so her mother wouldn't go hungry. By midday, her legs shook. Her lips cracked. Her body begged for rest. She found a corner under a faded billboard and sat. She had sold 12 sachets, N1 on 20. 10 more and she'd have enough to buy Gary and okra. A man walked past and dropped N200 into her tray. "Go buy something, little one," he said. "Thank you, sir," she whispered. But a teenage boy snatched the money and ran. She screamed and chased him, but he vanished into the market chaos. Shalola stopped, chest heaving, eyes burning, and sat by the gutter, sobbing. Passers-by didn't notice. That evening, she returned to where her mother sat, humming and clapping. She forced a smile. "Mommy, I brought bread." Her mother looked confused. "Who are you?" "Who are you?" "The angel with black wings." "No, Mommy, I'm Shalola, your daughter." Her mother giggled. "My daughter is a star. She fell from the sky and drowned in a bottle of oil." Shalola held her gently, tearing bread into pieces to feed her. She didn't eat, too tired. Later, Shalola found a broken mirror near the kiosk they slept by. Her face was sunburned, eyes swollen, lips cracked. She didn't look like the school children she watched. Yet when she whispered math questions to herself, she answered correctly. "When you divide 6 by 3, what do you get?" she whispered. 2, she smiled. No matter what the world tried, her mind remained sharp. Her fire still burned enough to keep going. The next day, back on the road, tray full, feet raw, heart steady, she sold water, but inside, she chased something bigger, a chance to prove that the daughter of a mad woman didn't have to die in the streets. Shalola wasn't meant to be at Queen's Crest International School. Tall polished gates, guards with radios, air-conditioned SUVs, children in gloves. Walls shimmered. Glass reflected the sun like diamonds. A school for the rich, not the barefoot daughter of a roadside madwoman. But she had seen it from afar too many times. Today, something inside her said, "Go closer." She had no money, no plan, no right, only longing. She crept around the side fence where weeds grew, found a small gap near a drainage pipe and slipped in, brushing off thorns. Heart pounding, she expected to be caught, but no one saw her. She walked past flower beds, hid behind trees, ducked from teachers and students, and finally reached a quiet spot behind a mango tree near the backfield. Through a classroom window, she could see the junior students. She crouched, pulled a pencil from her pocket and began copying the words onto a scrap of nylon. Halfway through a difficult English passage, she heard a voice. "You're the girl they always chase away, right?" Her heart stopped. She spun around. A girl her age, hair in neat cornrows, uniform spotless, name tag gleaming, Jessica Agu. "I didn't mean harm," Shalola stammered, backing up. I was just listening." Jessica tilted her head. "Why?" "Because I want to learn," Shalola said. Jessica stepped closer. "You don't go to school?" "No, my mother. She's sick. We live on the streets." Jessica looked down. Her polished black shoes made no sound on the soft grass. People laugh at me too, she said quietly. They say I'm dumb, that my dad pays the school to keep promoting me. Skolola looked surprised. You? Jessica nodded. I don't understand anything in class. Everyone's ahead, so I sit out here alone at lunch. A long silence passed. Then Jessica smiled. Do you want to sit? Skolola hesitated. Jessica sat first and patted the ground beside her. Slowly, Skolola lowered herself onto the grass. Jessica opened her bag and pulled out a textbook. Can you teach me this? I don't get it. Skolola looked at the page. Fractions. After a moment, she gently took the book. Okay, so when you see 1, 2, and 1, 4, they don't have the same denominator, she explained. Jessica listened wide-eyed as Skolola broke it down. Within minutes, Jessica was solving problems she had struggled with all term. I understand. I finally get it, Jessica gasped. Skolola smiled shyly. You're not dumb, Jessica grinned. And you're not just smart. You're amazing. They sat under the mango tree for over an hour. When the bell rang, Jessica stood. Will you come tomorrow? She asked. Skolola hesitated. They'll chase me. I don't belong here. Jessica narrowed her eyes. Wait here. She ran off and returned minutes later with the school's security man following. This is my friend, Jessica said firmly. Her name is Skolola. She'll be here tomorrow at lunch. Let her in. The man looked confused. But she's not. She's my friend, Jessica repeated. And my daddy owns this school. You have a problem with that? The man blinked and said nothing. Jessica turned to Skolola. Same time tomorrow, okay? Skolola nodded slowly, still in disbelief. As she left the school, she felt something new. Not fear or shame, but hope. That night, as her mother sang to a broken bottle and danced barefoot, Skolola sat by the gutter and prayed, God, I met someone today. She saw me. She didn't call me dirty or mad. She listened. Please let me see her again. Let this not be a dream. She slept with a smile, the first in a long time. They met under the mango tree every day, same time, same spot. Skolola came barefoot in her torn brown gown, clutching a plastic bag with torn papers and a blunt pencil. Jessica arrived in her ironed uniform, carrying a lunchbox. Two girls from different worlds, yet under that tree nothing else mattered. Their friendship grew steadily. Jessica laughed more now and paid attention in class. Not because the teachers finally made sense, but because Skolola helped her. Don't read it like a robot, Skolola whispered. Read it like you're talking to your best friend. Jessica stumbled at first, then tried again. When she got it, Skolola clapped like she'd won a trophy. Jessica's eyes shone. No one ever claps for me, she admitted. But you're rich. Don't people celebrate you? Skolola asked. Jessica shook her head. Only when I dress well or when Dad hosts parties. Not when I get answers, not when I trip up. That day, Skolola held her hand and said something she never thought she would. You deserve more. Jessica said nothing, only held Shalola's hand tighter. One afternoon, sharing spaghetti and plantain under the tree, Jessica asked, Do you have a best friend? You, Shalola replied immediately. Jessica smiled. Me too, then her smile faltered. Skola, what if my daddy finds out? What if he says we can't be friends? Skolola paused, her spoon hovering. Then you'll forget me. That's how it works. No, Jessica snapped. I won't. He'll be angry, Shalola said softly. Rich people don't want their daughters sitting with girls like me. My mother begs on the road. Some say she's cursed. They think I'm cursed too. Jessica leaned forward. You're not cursed. You're magic, Skolola blinked, stunned. Magic? Yes, Jessica nodded firmly. Who else can teach better than all my teachers? Who else can make me laugh when I feel like crying? Who else can make a place like this feel like home? Skolola's chest tightened. Her eyes filled, but she blinked fast to hold back tears. Magic, Jessica whispered again. That's what you are. They shared more than food and textbooks. Jessica brought a hairbrush, a small blue notepad, and even a pair of slippers once, though rarely wore them for fear of theft. Skolola shared stories, real and imaginary, about stars falling in love with street kids, girls finding schools and dreams, and mothers healed by rain. Jessica listened as if every word mattered, and it did. For the first time, she didn't feel alone. Skolola, too, didn't feel invisible. They kept it a secret. Jessica didn't tell her teachers, classmates, or her father, Chief Agu, one of Lagos's most feared billionaires. How could she? How do you tell a man who runs oil companies that your best friend is a street girl with no shoes? Under the mango tree, the girls built their own world, a world where names and backgrounds didn't matter, where a billionaire's daughter and a street child could dream the same dream together. One day, Shalola didn't show up. Jessica waited, checking her watch. 30 minutes, then an hour. Panic rose. Had something happened? Was she sick, or had someone chased her again? A soft voice called, "Jessica." Shalola appeared, panting, barefoot, dirt on her legs, but smiling. "I'm sorry I'm late. My mom had an episode and ran into the road. I had to pull her away before she got hurt." Jessica rushed forward and hugged her. "I thought you weren't coming," Shalola chuckled. "Even if I had to crawl, I would come." Jessica pulled back, looking her in the eye. "One day I'll tell my dad." "I promise," Shalola swallowed hard. "What if he says no?" Jessica's eyes blazed. "Then I'll scream until he says yes." That night, under a broken street lamp, Shalola lay beside her mother, holding a stone like a baby. She stared at the sky. "God, I've never had a friend before. Please don't let me lose this one." She reached into her pocket and pulled out the notepad Jessica gave her. On the first page was a drawing. 2 stick figures holding hands under a mango tree. One in uniform, one in rags, both smiling. Shalola traced it with her finger and smiled, then closed her eyes. For the first time, she didn't fall asleep afraid. The next morning started like any other. Jessica sat in class, distracted, waiting for the lunch bell. Her fingers drummed nervously on the desk, her heart racing faster than usual. Teachers praised her improved performance. She had answered 2 literature questions correctly. Even the principal mentioned it during assembly. But Jessica didn't care. No one knew the real reason behind her change. It wasn't an expensive tutor. It was Shalola, the barefoot girl with a brilliant mind and an even bigger heart. Jessica couldn't wait to see her. By 12:35 p.m., she was under the mango tree, lunchbox in hand, 2 spoons ready, and Shalola's favorite biscuit tucked inside. Then she heard it, the low hum of black SUVs entering the compound. Students turned. Teachers froze. Even security straightened and saluted. Jessica's stomach dropped. "Daddy, why is he here?" Chief Agu didn't visit without warning. His presence commanded attention before he even spoke. Jessica stood quickly, brushing crumbs from her skirt, unsure what to do. Shalola appeared, smiling, barefoot as always. "I'm here. Sorry I had to fetch water," Shalola said. But Jessica's eyes were fixed on the figure stepping from the SUV. Tall, dark-skinned, impeccably dressed in a black CF tan suit and leather sandals. Her father. Shalola stiffened. "Is that your dad?" Jessica nodded slowly. Panic hit Shalola like a wave. "I have to go," she whispered, but it was too late. "Jessica," a deep voice called across the lawn. She turned. Chief Agu walked forward with 2 assistants, eyes sharp, calculating. "What are you doing out here?" "I was having lunch. With who?" His gaze shifted to Shalola, a girl in a torn gown, dusty legs, holding a worn nylon bag and a half-eaten biscuit. His brow furrowed. "Who is this?" Shalola's mouth opened, but no words came. She trembled. Jessica stepped in front of her. "This is Shalola. She's my friend. She teaches me." Chief Agu blinked. "Excuse me?" Jessica took a breath, standing taller. "The reason I've improved at school is because of her. She teaches me during lunch, and I understand her better than any teacher here." A long silence followed. Chief Agu's eyes stayed on Shalola. Then he asked quietly, "Who are your parents, child?" "I don't know my father, sir." "My mother. She's sick. She begs by the roadside near Oshodi. People call her mad. We have no home." One assistant shifted uncomfortably. Chief Agu remained unreadable. "You're not in school?" Shalola shook her head. "No one can pay my fees. My sponsor left the country 2 years ago." Jessica held her hand. Chief Agu watched the gesture, the daughter holding the girl's hand like a lifeline, and softened slightly. "You've been coming here every day, teaching her in secret?" Jessica nodded. "I wanted to tell you, but I was scared." "Scared of me?" "Yes, scared you wouldn't let me see her again." Chief Agu turned to Shalola. She flinched. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said gently. "Take me to your mother, please." Shalola stepped back, trembling. "Sir, please don't punish her. She doesn't know what I do here. She's not well. If I stop coming, I'll stay away. Just don't hurt her. I won't, he said. I just want to see her. Jessica looked at her father. Promise you won't chase Skolola away. He stared at the two girls from different worlds now connected. I promise. 30 minutes later, the convoy reached a dusty street near mile 12. Flies buzzed, and the smell of burning trash hung in the air. Skolola pointed. She's there. A barefoot woman sat on the sidewalk, rocking, laughing at nothing, clothes torn, hair matted. That's my mommy, Skolola whispered. Chief Agu stepped forward, crouching beside her. Madam, he said softly, did you bring this girl? I left my wings in your car, Skolola said, tears welling. I'm going to help her, Chief Agu said quietly. I know people. She needs proper care, please, Skolola said. I don't want money. Just help her be okay. He turned to his assistant. Get Dr. Aisha on the line. Psychiatric unit, full treatment, no delays. Then he looked at Skolola. And you? From today you are no longer a homeless girl, Skolola gasped. He knelt, placing a hand on her shoulder. You have a father now. Even as the car pulled away, Skolola watched through tinted glass as her mother was lifted gently into an ambulance headed to the best psychiatric hospital in Lagos. Jessica held her hand. You're safe now, she whispered. Skolola couldn't believe it. This was real. By evening, Skolola had her first proper bath in years. Jessica gave her fresh pajamas. Her hair was combed and packed by a housemate, surprised as Chief Agu introduced her. This is Skolola. She'll stay with us from now on. Treat her with the same respect as my daughter. The house froze, the street girl now living here, but Chief Agu's tone allowed no questions. The next morning, Skolola stood in front of the mirror in Jessica's room, wearing a crisp, borrowed Queen's Crest school uniform. She barely recognized herself. You look just like me. Jessica clapped. I feel like I'm dreaming, Skolola whispered. You're not. My daddy said it's real. He said you belong here. But I'm the daughter of a mad woman, Skolola said, voice trembling. Jessica shook her head. No, you're my father's daughter now. Skolola looked out the window, staring at the morning light. I don't know how to thank him. Jessica smiled. Then shine. Show the world what you can do. That day, the two girls walked into Queen's Crest together. Matching uniforms, matching bags, matching smiles. Gasps followed. Children whispered. Teachers blinked. Yes, it was the street girl, but now she walked with the founder's daughter. No more sneaking, no more hiding. She had come through the front gate as a student. In class, Skolola raised her hand. Every question Skolola asked, every lesson she absorbed, she wasn't just talented. She was exceptional. By the end of the day, the teachers requested a meeting with the principal. Where did this girl come from? One asked. She's not just smart, she's extraordinary. The principal smiled. From the street, apparently. But now she's part of our family. Meanwhile, Chief Agu kept his promise. Skolola's mother was admitted to a private psychiatric facility under expert care. Dr. Aisha assured him that, though critical, Abini's condition was treatable. We'll stabilize her, the doctor said. It will take time, but with love, medication, and structure, there is hope. Skolola visited her mother once a week. At first, her mother didn't recognize her, shouting at walls or crying over invisible threats. But on the fifth visit, she paused, looked up at Skolola, and whispered, You look like the sky. Skolola cried with relief. Weeks passed, and Skolola gradually adjusted to her new life. She still woke some nights thinking she was back on the sidewalk. She still flinched at sudden movements. But over time, her smile became freer, her laughter more frequent. She spoke up in class and made new friends. Jessica never disappeared from her heart. They became sisters, not by blood but by choice, sharing stories, secrets, lunches, and dreams. Jessica's grades improved, her confidence flourished, and her teachers noticed. All of it was because of the girl who once sat under the mango tree. One Friday afternoon, Chief Agu called Skolola into his study. She stood nervously, and he gestured for her to sit. I've been watching you, he said. You've changed my daughter's life and mine. Skolola lowered her gaze. I didn't mean to. I just wanted to learn, he chuckled. And now you will. You are my child as far as I'm concerned. I'll provide for you as I do for Jessica. He opened a drawer and handed her a new tablet loaded with all her school materials. Skolola stared at it awed. Thank you, sir. Thank you for seeing me. she whispered. He placed a gentle hand on her head. You were never invisible, Shalola. You just needed someone to look closely. That night, Shalola sat in the garden under the mango tree, now well kept with clean tiles and benches. She looked at the stars. My name is Shalola, she whispered. Daughter of no one, friend of Jessica, student of Queen's Crest, and now, she smiled, I have a father. She closed her eyes. God, I once asked you to heal my mother, to send me to school, to give me one friend. You gave me all three. I don't deserve it, but thank you. She placed a hand over her heart. I promise I won't waste this chance. The girl the world called the daughter of a mad woman had become something greater, a symbol of hope, a living answer to her own prayers, proof that love and education can change a life. For Chief Egu, for Jessica, and for everyone who believes in the transformative power of compassion, Shalola became living proof. The future opened its doors and she walked through them head held high. No child is born worthless. Every life holds potential. With kindness, opportunity, and education, even the most forgotten soul can rise. Shalola's story reminds us that one act of compassion can break cycles of poverty and neglect. True greatness is not about where you come from, but what you do when someone finally sees you. Believe. Uplift. Never judge a child by their circumstances. We hope you enjoyed this powerful story. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you learned. Another inspiring story is coming soon, so subscribe and turn on notifications to be the first to watch. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like and share it with family and friends. Thank you for watching. God bless.